Dark Zero doesn't really play this map either. So the bans will heavily influence it, and momentum is going to be a big factor. In this case, I think it's undeniable that Spacestation has the wind at their back. First ban is going to be on Buck.
Well, we know Rampy won't be playing that now. This was interestingly the decider as well yesterday for Soniqs. They just didn't get to that map 3. They got very close to getting there, but didn't. Jackal ban, not a huge surprise. We saw a lot of Jackal banning yesterday. You don't want to be dealing with them on this map. You already have enough troubles roamer as it is. You do not want your footprints tracked on top of that, of course. There are still other things to deal with, like Dokkaebi in line, whatnot, gridlock as well. Valkyrie, though, not going to be something you have to worry about. So those outside cams, not as much of a problem. You don't have to worry as much about the runouts, but there's still plenty of spawn peak angles that don't require having outside Valkyrie cams to really make those plays.
Gridlock and Nomad are especially good operators here on this map. I would not be surprised to see them utilized along with Capitao as well. Mira being the final ban, which means that Echo and Maestro will be available.
It's always nice to see Capitao available. I know people don't like dealing with it, but I really like seeing an operator that's very, very utility heavy rather than just frag heavy, and really crucial utility, especially towards the end of rounds. We will see him picked by Bosco. No surprise there, though, as he goes actually over to the Dokkaebi. This is what he played very well yesterday on Coastline. Very good use of his smokes, but he also played the Capitao on the next map. Very good use of his smokes. So I gotta imagine he's gonna be supporting Canadian on those smoke plants, something he did quite a bit yesterday. We also get a 6th pick over to Castle. It is going to be Hookah, so we'll see where those Castle barricades go. But Hookah definitely a good bomb site all around. We've seen, I feel like, a bit more of a trend towards planting inside Hookah, though, or at least fighting inside Hookah, as opposed to just billiards plants, just typical default plants we used to see.
Possibly one map away from crowning the Eastern Conference champions to await the Western Conference champions later today, and then in the Ultimate Grand Finals of Grand Finals tomorrow.
The Ultimate.
To see which team is given the title of Team USA.
It's definitely a good title to have, and this will be the second time a team will be granted it. The first team having dispersed 3 of its members and only 1 of them remaining in the tournament at this point, as 2 of them got sent home yesterday.
That is true.
5 seconds left before insertion.
So we'll see if SSG can continue their trend here on attack. We saw how poor the defenses were for Soniqs on the last map, and this is already a map that can lean attacker heavy.
Yeah.
Soniqs not necessarily in the best position unless they can really catch the players of Space Station off guard.
If there's going to be a map where the guns on the Soniqs come alive, it's gonna have to be Coastline. There's no way around it. You saw Rampy take over the game earlier today, the one that just happened, right? Match number 1, map number 1. My brain My brain stopped working for a second. Yesterday, it was the Bosco/Boss Goat story.
Yeah.
And part of what makes Space Station such a lethal team is that when they're actually playing well and not drawing online, when they play on LAN, they have so much depth.
Yeah.
You can see somebody like Fultz take over, thinking they can have some very clutch rounds. Rampy and Bosco can take over too. Canadian isn't really usually in a position to take over, but he's still quite reliable.
That's the important thing is if you have teammates that can take over, you can be reliable.
On the Soniqs, you need players like Neptunes, like Slevin, like Gomfy to shoulder most of that weight. Not saying that Super and Goddess won't, it's just that they're not usually in that position given the system that the Soniqs play. And if you can contain Slevin and Gomfy, or if you can contain Neptunes and Gomfy, then there's a large problem that the Soniqs will have. This is a frag-heavy map, we say it time and time again. The question is going to be, what can the Soniqs do? Will we see the same patience that we saw in Clubhouse? Will there be some teeth to the defense and attacks from the Soniqs?
It's certainly going to need to be, as you said, being frag heavy, because this is a smaller map with more difficult rotations in a lot of positions. You have to kind of fight your way out of spots. You can't just rotate back to site in a lot of positions. And a lot of the map now has been taken over by SSG. They are in control of the VIP Penthouse Theater area, and they're just going to work their way around to both sides with Canadian on luggage, Rampy on the Aqua balcony as well, trying to fight Aqua. They do at least have a castle barricade, but that's actually going to work in their favor to some extent, although Rampy going to go down. That is their soft structure down outside of Fultz, but traded back by Canadian, who cannot find the second just yet, but Bosco's there to back him up.
You still got Fultz right now on essentially this hard angle watch, semi-flank watch. If you're going to see an execute happen, Smoke is playing inside of Pink, as you'd imagine him to be doing so, as a goo mine goes down and is immediately picked away at by Fultz. So there'll be clearer entry on in. Diffuser picked up, and now the cams will be theirs as well. You have the Maestro cams that will be very important. So you'll have likely Rampy sitting on that. Perfect time for the toxic canisters to go out. Canadian will die if he huffs in too many of those fumes. So where does he go? Well, that's why they juggled the diffuser with it in the hands of Bosco. He's still got those 2 smoke grenades. Fultz sees an opportunity, and while he takes it, goes for a second, will not connect, trade it out. Slevin with 2 big kills on his own, and right in the middle of the smoke, it's Bosco going for the plant. Goddess and Slevin are completely blind. You're going to rely on Canadian to be the one to cover. Bosco gets off the diffuser, pulls out the C75, and runs out, but he'll get downed, so it's all on the shoulders of the Canadian himself. He'll rotate on back over to Aqua. Waiting to see one head. Cannot land the shots. Diffuser being worked at. He punishes Slevin. He'll move on over. A double kill for him. Goddess versus Canadian, both on a tiny bit of HP. A huge clutch opportunity. He's just out of reach of Goddess. The timer is getting perilously low. She has no idea where he is. She'll make a ton of noise. Head back to disable the diffuser. She still has time. Canadian needs to get there, and here he goes. Vaulting on in. Close. Close, you gotta hurry, and there you go. He'll get it. Almost down to the wire. 1 second left on the timer. First round will go to Spacestation.
I mean, you called that earlier, the switch up. Having Canadian then play the window instead of playing for the diffuse plant, it's that Bosco-Canadian combo again. In this case, they just did a quick handoff. Bosco, you got the smokes. You can do this. I'll cover you from the window. The smokes are part of what made that work. And honestly, over the last 2 days, I felt like prior to this weekend that smoke plants were kind of dying off. SSG has just been a masterclass in smoke plants working. And it's down to that Bosco and Canadian team because Bosco will reliably get those smoke plants down. He's not the kind of smoke player who dies early in the round or makes misplays and ends up with a situation where they can't do that. Canadian, the same thing. He's not dying early as well. They're both very reliable in that because they have 3 very strong players to support the rest of it, so they don't have to put themselves in compromising positions early on. And it's just so reliable that they're able to get those down. And then I gotta imagine the communication and coordination between those 2 as well, very good for covering each other. And Canadian as well, just making the big brain plays there, because that could have easily gone wrong for him with such little health against 2 players, able to pull it off, and just fantastic play. SSG, they did start in a tough spot, but they came out ahead, and that's what matters.
Goddess wasn't aware of Canadian's position after he'd rotated off of the big window in hookah, right? He got off rappel the moment that Bosco died, and what does Canadian do? He assumes the same position that Bosco was in, which was at the Aqua doorway. Slevin goes onto the diffuser, and Goddess thinks that she needs to guard big window because you don't know where Canadian is. And because of the place it was planted, there's prime opportunity for the attackers to be able to shoot away at anybody who's disabling it, so.
Well, I don't know if that fact will continue all 8 sevens. Because, I mean, I don't know, this is pretty close though, so entirely possible, I suppose, just because how close that first round was. We'll see if they can attack a little bit, or defend a little bit better here.
Here's a fact. Bears eat beets. Bears eats Battlestar Galactica.
That's a useful fact. I know I'm going to use that likely on a daily or every other day basis. Well, we'll see if they're able to push in a little bit more effectively this time. Rampy, I believe, was the first to go last time, so maybe cooled off a little bit from the previous map. But he's still going to be looking to be that entry fragger here. Try and see if he can catch anyone off guard inside theater or penthouse. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. But rather than open the hatch, he's actually going to rotate around and do a bit more work. Now that they're droning for him, he's actually going to do some droning for himself just to cover his flanks. Canadian, in the meantime, just clearing out as much as he can and then identifying the positions so they can set up the angles like you saw Canadian there, who actually took over the cap tower role. Thinking Nate doing his job though, taking down Gomfy. Neptune's also at low health here. Could be, yep, I was going to say the next to fall. And Thinking Nate, he's on a roll. Double kill for him this round. Looking like a smart start.
That's through the wall onto Pink. Now, given that it's a double bar defense, you're going to have defenders playing up top. They're going to be situated inside of Pink. They're going to be playing over towards Hookah. And then they're going to be on Cool Vibe stairs. It's the Maestro of Goddess, and she's going to be able to mow anybody down that finds themselves unlucky enough to end up in her Alda crosshairs. Speaking of finding in their crosshairs, it's Slevin with 2 very big kills to immediately take us back to a 3v3. Doesn't take much time at all. And you've lost the Ashe and the Zofia. Now Canadian on the run-up from Slevin, 3 kills. He's on a heater so far in this round. He'll rotate over towards the pool table. He takes out Thinking Nade, but he'll get shut down. No ace for him. Bosco taking care of the hottest hand for the Soniqs. 2v1. If there's anybody who wins these, it's Bosco. Just ask Dark Zero.
Certainly possible here. He's got a plant, though, and he needs to get down to the site to be able to do that. While he's above it, that doesn't necessarily help you a whole lot here. He's got some possibility, but it's not the best guns to frag out with. While the DMR can be decent, if you can hit your shots against one person, fighting against two with either is not great because the CZ is going to burn through its ammo very quickly, and then you're left trying to switch to the DMR or, reloading in a tight spot. See his Toby eye tracker there, just seeing where he's looking because this is going to be pretty pivotal where he actually identifies the players out because he can't drone for them, so he's going to use a phone call to try and help with that. But he's got to make a play soon.
He'll pull the DMR out and he knows that he has to enter through a single doorway that can be watched, sprays at a wall, waiting for the Maestro to try and take him head on. Misses his shots, he's running out of time, and this should be a very easy hold for SSG. Bosco lines one up, the other one's prone on the ground, and it's just gonna be the clock that gets it for the Soniqs. A second or two more, and maybe that becomes a 1v1 that goes either way, but the Soniqs wear out the clock, and they will draw even at one apiece.
Well, that looks pretty good, though, for Bosco to potentially clutch that. He made the right decision in going for the frags, I think, but at the same time, maybe he would have been able to stick a plant down. Definitely very difficult to make those kind of decisions because you don't know where necessarily the players are. They're playing back because they're not in blue bar, but you just got to make a call at that point, besides the phone call, of course, that he made. Still, a close round, 2 close rounds now, one of them going in favor of SSG, one in favor of Soniqs. This does look like this could be a bit more of a close match all around on this map. Just hard to say whether or not it's going to go to either team. Canadian going to bring out the Nomad, you mentioned, effective on this map. I mean, unless they rotate through the middle, there's a lot of constrained rotation bottleneck points that you can be using those air jabs at. A lot of good flanks you can cover, especially with only 2 sets of stairs. It does make it easier to be able to do that, and of course only 2 floors as well. So Canadian, should he get in good positions to use those, can definitely set those up to really make a retake difficult if they're able to get control of the site. They are going to try that hookah again. Now they just defended successfully below. Now they're going to try and defend the top floor of that again. Now last time did get pretty close, thanks to Canadian's clutch. But we have Bosco playing the same smoke roll again. Rampy, if he can step it back up, this round might not be as close. We did at least see Thinking Nate step up in his stead. But Rampy has had a rough first two.
Look at how much better the chances are for the Soniqs when they allow their strong players, or the superpower player of Sleben, to roam and do what he does best, kill things. How many opportunities did Spacestation have to be able to drone him out of hookah? He picked up 2 kills. You know where he's located. He's got the rotate from hookah inside of billiards. And what do? Nothing. You just continuously chase him head on 1v1. Canadian gets picked off as he was heading towards the double bars outside. A bit of an error from Spacestation, and capitalized on very well by the Soniqs, or rather not even the Soniqs, but Sleben alone, who was largely unassisted, it seemed like.
Yeah, he just made the right calls at the right time to get those frags. I imagine some of that on game sense.
And Coastline is a map, like I said, where you're going to allow those fraggers to come alive. On a map like Clubhouse, things are a lot more, contained. And you can't see somebody like Sleben be able to take full advantage on a roam because it's a lot easier to keep the control on a map like Clubhouse than on Coastline. One of the things that Flynn always likes to say is that Coastline is a map where you can rotate from one side to the other in seconds, and it's very true. Because of that giant skylight in the middle, you can drop from the second floor, you can get on over to the other side of the map, you can rotate over through luggage. There's so many flank routes, and it's very difficult for you to watch it if you're not a coordinated attacking team. It's why operators like Nomad and Gridlock are so popular.
I like that despite the buck ban, Rampy still found a way to hit the ceiling by climbing on the bar there. He's like, I'll still try and buck this as best as I can. Well, they are starting to make some progress here, at least in below, to try and work towards the site. Bosco also covering the window into hookah, and Thinking Nate trying to work on the door. But Bosco, with that DMR that I was talking about earlier, lands a shot before Rampy is traded off. Sleben again on a roll, Fultz the next to fall. Rampy's he's not picking it up here, and now disadvantaged SSG.
These were the 2 operators that Sleben was able to take care of before. Just narrowly missing a couple gunshots to Canadian's head as he looks to head in through the hookah doorway, and smoke will stop the defenders from being able to see any execute that's happening. Canadian realizes they need to move, so they'll head on over. Diffuser gets juggled. Canadian down below. He's so close to Sleben, I don't think he knows it. Sleben playing around. Canadian cannot hit the shots. He'll finally land them and down him, thinking that there's going to be somebody coming from over on Cool Vibes. Dropped his Thinking Nade, so he'll have to get picked back up from his ally while Bosco ensures that nobody jumps out to capitalize on this one. Diffuser is down as well. No air jabs remaining for Canadian, so he'll get his teammate back to full HP in a 3v3 with 30 seconds left. Tie game between these 2 teams, and the pressure from SSG is going to come from that hookah balcony. You don't have cool vibe stairs in your pocket the way that you want. That's still being held right now by the Soniqs. Bosco looks like he might have gotten their feeds. No utility left from the attackers. This heavily favoring the Soniqs. Unless they can win their gunfights, the SSG are in so much trouble, and they're not going to win any of them. 3 perfect 1v1s for the Soniqs to close out that round, and they have their very first lead of this series.
Well, defense seeming to work much better on this map, and a big part of that definitely due to Slevin. His ability to play more flexibly. As you mentioned, Clubhouse being a lot more constrained, Slevin really couldn't come alive on that map, and they've been able to unleash him on this map. His ability to run around and do what he needs to do, getting his opening picks, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, really making a difference. They're going to have to do something to better contain him, and it's ironic given that they had the air jabs to be able to try and contain him. They had some utility, as well as the phone calls. Despite those 2 things, they could not stop him from being able to move around the way they wanted. They really need to do something about him. But I also feel like if they take down Slevin early, we could see the rounds go SSG, much like we talked about before. So that's really what the mission is now. SSG's mission is kill Slevin, then go back to what you
Kill Slevin seems to be easier said than done. He's got 9 kills over 3 rounds. Rampy had 11 kills over 4 rounds in map number 1.
Wow.
This is what really helps Sonic's chances. You need players like that to carry this team. That's why you picked them up. That's why you brought them over here from Europe. Was to get Gomfi and Slevin onto the scoreboard, and they are playing so well on a map that you need to play well on.
Absolutely, like we said, tends to be a bit more attacker-sided bunch of the time. So winning these defensive rounds is definitely vital to making sure you win as many as possible. Give yourself the advantage on the attacker side. But I mean, hey, if SSG play the roamers as well as Slevin's been playing, it won't really matter. It will be very defensive-sided either way.
You have a defender-sided coastline, and you have an attacker-sided clubhouse.
That's how it goes, right?
That's how it goes.
Keep it mixed up, right?
You don't see that one every day.
No, but that's what I love about this game. It is very, very dynamic. You never really know what's going to happen. It always makes our job interesting, that's for sure.
That's true.
There's definitely a lot of other games I don't know if I could cast just because they're far more predictable than this.
2 days are never the same.
Yeah.
No 2 days are ever the same, so.
Well, that doesn't bode well for Soniqs because they won yesterday, so.
Losing their opening fights so far, SSG need to find better gun skill on the engage, be it Rampy or Fultz, who've been dying too early, too often through these 3 rounds, putting a lot of weight and an undue burden on the rest of the team. Being a little bit more cautious here, as an entry is going to happen over from Hookah and then inside of Sunrise Bar down below. The wall in Kitchen's been opened up quite heavily, so you have to tread with caution. I think Fultz assumes that he has second floor control. Down goes Slevin.
Oh, there it is.
There's a huge sigh of relief if you're Space Station. You've got the opening pick and it's on the most vital target.
We'll see if that opens things up for them. Who knows? It might not work out, but it's certainly the first pick that they needed. Thinking he's actually been showing up in Rampy's place quite a bit on this map. It's been good to see. I mean, you don't always have Fragger Thatchers, but there's definitely some players out there who could be very standout Thatcher players in getting those kills. We'll see if Thinking they can keep it up. But now it's drone time. Figure out positioning. Neptune's also at the Pulse is going to be trying to do the same against Space Station. There's a little bit of drone denial still left, as I imagine most of the pests were probably deployed. But it doesn't seem to really be slowing Space Station down.
Rampy was almost droning himself in towards the office. They spot the Pulse that's playing down there, and Neptunes will see anybody coming at a 9-meter range before Space Station does. They've made the call, or at least Rampy has made the call, that, hey, I'm not going to bother to engage, so move on over. Somebody else spotted inside a delivery. There goes a smoke. Can't tell if it's Super's smoke or if the Dokkaebi of Bosco's smoke. Fultz needs to watch blue bar as he sees the Pulse. The UMP is not going to do much. It's just a scratch on the Fultz. It's the second kill for SSG. And now Fultz will watch the bottom panels that have been opened up inside of Kitchen. It's almost go time now for Space Station. 40 seconds left, and Goddess gets found by Rampy. Playing by the main door. How about a flawless round for SSG? They bounce back and tie the game up.
Well, we know what the call is at the end of that round. Slevin, could you not die next round, okay? I think we would do a little bit better. But that ties it up. Like you said, Soniqs had their first lead last round, but now they've lost it. They're going to have to reclaim that. Looking pretty good for the attack. If they can just hunt Slevin down. Now they know Slevin's playing very mobile. So they can pretty much count on him not being on site for the most part, as he has not really been playing there. So that is something they can use to their advantage if they are looking to hunt him down, as there are limited places you can be on this map. He's either going to be above or below site, or off on the other corner for the most part, as there's not a lot of in-between. He's also not likely to be in the courtyard for the most part. So because of that, they can start cordon him off. He was a Mozzie last time to try and help deny that. And this time they are going to have the mute jammer. But it's, I got to imagine, just hunt him down. There are going to be other players potentially supporting him, but because he's playing relatively standalone, you can actually use that to your advantage, in that you're less likely to be traded hunting him down on a two-man pinch. Although it was just thinking they to do it from upstairs last time. And that's the beauty of the courtyard from the attacker's standpoint, is you can cut off a ton of rotation by just standing up there watching angles. We'll see them try bar again here. Their successful site, besides hookah. And then, of course, they can go to hookah again after this round.
The thing with the double bars was that for a period of time, the double bars actually had the highest win rate for the defense. Mind you, it is a smaller pick rate than we see from hookah and we see from the kitchen sites. Penthouse Theater is basically gone from the meta. For a period of time, was one of the most played sites, and in ranked/competitive play outside of top-tier professional competition, it's still very favored, but a large part of that is if Mira is available.
This is a dynamic meta-wise.
Yes, Coastline has changed quite a lot, and the way that the double bars are defended, there are so many different ways that teams play the double bars. You can bring a castle, you can set up top, you can set up down below for a retake, you can play off-site and open up all the walls. There's so many opportunities on the double bars, which I think can be an awful challenge for the attackers to be able to crack that nut. In this case, they couldn't crack it, as SQ won their very first round on this site.
Stay back.
One thing they don't do super well, though, is guarding blue bar. They don't play super heavy defense in that. I think they're going to look to that as an opening if they can clear office and take control of blue bar in terms of the walls that they have to worry about firing in from the other side in Sunshine Bar. I think they can take it for a plan, potentially. But, of course, they've got to clear enough players out and get enough map control to make that happen. Canadian looking to open up some angles here.
I think it was Thinking Nate who actually got the early pick on the double bars exactly here into the wall, but I don't know if it's been opened up. It actually looks like it might have sheathed off a lot of the wood. It's still pretty solid. There could have been an impact grenade that was tossed at it to take the X-Kairos off. We must have missed that one. Castle Barricade inside of Aqua will also stop Space Station for the time being, but it's Rampy there. He's got a sledgehammer. He gets out-dueled by Neptunes with the UMP, who will then get spotted and immediately head in the other direction. Volts needs to be very careful because he's got a bunch of punch holes, he's got an opening in the wall, and the Jaeger of Gomfi will scurry off after taking a beating from Rampy. Or Fultz, rather. Fultz engaged yet again, not able to land the shots, and I don't think he sees anybody over towards Billiards. Neptunes vanquishing Thinking Nade. So that Castle playing very effectively inside of Aqua.
He can be kind of an expendable roamer as well. He usually gets his utility set up, and then, you just let him roam around. If he can get some kills, great. If not, not a big deal. Fultz at least taking down Gomfi, but still not a great trade. The fact that a Castle has taken down two of your players, and you just killed the Jaeger, who most likely also had his setup just completed, you're not really gaining a ton here, so pretty big disadvantage. Not to mention, Fultz also had a bit of damage as well, and still some Castle barricades left up.
See the situation here inside of the mudroom, as it's often called. Fultz waiting for the call to spring into action with Canadian there, who backs up. Nitro Cell goes out. Mute manages to win the fight. Super gets it, but Canadian sprays him down. Can't beat Goddess in a 1v1. Bosco gets run out on, and he'll have to immediately turn and look to see if they can catch him. The Legion will win the fight, though. Sleben, he's been so good this map, and he's going to continue it. This is the best that we've seen from the Soniqs so far today. They regain the lead, 3-2.
Big plays from Neptunes, though. Those opening picks really set the tone for the round.
Absolutely. And you're right, very expendable. As a Castle, once your barricades are up, you're going to be playing for time. You're not going to be playing with a good weapon. You will likely have some denial with those impacts if you haven't already used them for rotations, and that's it. You are an expendable player at that point, as you were very correct, or expendable operator, rather.
And he certainly made it seem like he was not willing to die.
No.
So good on him. Didn't have to be the Sleben show that round since he showed up. But nonetheless, Sleben did live for quite a while. And it made things difficult for SSG. Managed to get a kill towards the end there, I believe, as well. But that bar rush, a bit of a misplay. Running up like that and then just not. I mean, that's the problem, is when you sprint, it reduces your ADS time. You got, increases. You've got to deal with trying to ADS out of a sprint and a vault in that position. Not the smartest thing to do without some kind of stun going off first to be able to stop them from being able to react, in a timely manner. Also, you got to worry about coverage from the door, which ended up being a problem. You got Slebin now this time on the full roam strat with the Vigil.
Why not?
Might as well.
It's going to be a hookah defense, so Slebin can play below and still distract and take away from the fact that you're going to need to drone him out. You predicted correctly. Hookah opened back up. Soniqs waste no time to go back there. So it's going to be the very final defense for SQ on a hookah play before the side swap. For SSG, if they emerge 3-3 tied up with the Soniqs, I think that's a win for both of these teams. It really depends. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think Soniqs have the upper hand in this matchup so far. We'll see if the sides have played into it at all. But if Slebin continues playing as hot as he has, and if Rampy and Foltz continue to be as ineffective and are getting shut down as consistently as they are, then we end up on map number 3 with Consulate being the decider.
I mean, I think that's the big factor right there, Slebin and Rampy. One is hot, one is not. The opposite of last map.
Yep.
And we saw how last map ended up, so I feel like if that could reverse, if Rampy could ramp it up, really, and actually get some kills instead of being the opening death most of the rounds, I see this shifting quite a bit, which is, it's odd for someone who's an entry fragger to lose so many entry kills on a map where, again, you can constrain the roamer so much, and they have the ability to make those phone calls, for example, to help him out. It just seems like maybe he's focused on other jobs or just trying to clear certain areas without focus on drone play and, I don't know, game sense at this point. It's just not working, so hopefully he can refocus himself. Honestly, I feel like if another round is lost by Spacestation, call a timeout at that point. Refocus the team. I know you're not way behind, but I think mentally they need to recollect themselves.
The only timeout that was taken was the Soniqs in round number 5 of map 1. Neither team has used a timeout since then. Keep in mind that you have one timeout per map per team. So the Soniqs can still take one if they find themselves in free fall. Spacestation can take one if they really need. The question that comes into taking things like timeouts are, well, do you do it after you swap sides, or do you do it at the end of a particular round, knowing that you've only got one defense left, etc.? It was a point that was actually raised on Twitter by I think it was, I can't remember who, but it doesn't really matter. This is a double swing from Soniqs after the frag grenade finds its target. Bosco gets rid of Neptunes and 2 kills from Spacestation on an effective entry as they are knocking on the door of Hookah. Right next to the barricade is Super, who eats a bit of damage, but manages to remove Canadian. Down goes the Zofia, so you've seen some role swaps to a certain extent. Foltz grabs Slebin, and this round is all but over with 40 seconds left. Another peek right into Foltz. That's a nice clean shot. Super's got the only kill for his team. Logic Bomb going off. He swings in, but he's going to have to reload. Toxic Canister as he panics. He has nowhere to go. Nowhere to go but down. It's going to be 3-3 at the split.
And that's not a bad split to be in for either team, really. While it didn't work out great for Super in the end, I really like that setup, though. I like the way they use the castle barricade, the one reinforced wall, and then the shield on the soft wall opening to be able to play Aqua in a way that's very different than they're used to. That does give them a little time to set up in the room, in that you are castle barricading off some angles that let them play in there without having to worry as much about angles. But at the same time, you saw what happened when they got too comfortable in there. That deployable shield allows you to rotate into Aqua pretty much unseen. Super took advantage of that, caught them completely off guard. I mean, thankfully he hit the shield as he died, basically, to be able to take out that shield so it wasn't a problem later. But that's, I don't know, I mean, that's just not great to be able to play against. We'll see how Hookah goes here for SSG. But overall, I think we've seen some great strategy and some great play from Soniqs on their defense. If they can keep that up on attack, we can see map 3. But if the side switch really just turns things around, might not make it that far.
I think the first couple rounds are going to be a major deciding factor here. Does Spacestation stick with it? Are they able to stay focused? They just grabbed the last round before the swap. Are they able to punish the Soniqs? Or are the Soniqs going to continue to play as they have? And largely, is Slebin going to continue to play the way that he has? The rest of the team needs to step up. You need big rounds from Neptunes. We saw it from the castle play that he did when you said he was expendable.
At least last time we saw it from Foltz.
And yeah, Foltz stepping up big. Rampy and Foltz being your opening deaths, not ideal.
No, there was definitely the opening kills from them that round. And that's what you like to see. I mean, one of them was a grenade, I believe, onto the player behind bar. So that was a little bit more of a predictable kill. But nonetheless, that's better than making the opening death by far.
Very correct. The round breakdown showing the story here is there's been no objective play whatsoever. We saw the diffuser go down in round number 1, and since then there's been absolutely nothing else other than just punching one another relentlessly over and over and over again. We do see a Gridlock come out. I was wondering when we were going to see her. We saw Nomad earlier from Canadian. I think she was played, what, 1 round, and that was it. excellent anti-flank work with those track stingers. The first point of contact, as it's going to be a hookah defense, will be down below, towards the offices, where SSG have set themselves up as sort of a beachhead.
I like that he's got the angle and the rotate into blue bar to use as well. But it's so often we see players pinch there, and the support from above on the hatch, I think will definitely help if Fultz can pull it off from the Aqua.
There's many angles being held here from SSG, and they might be able to land a shot or two. Will somebody dare peek Canadian? He has to scramble off as his phone finally silences. He's got Rampy not too far, just inside of security. Watching the window, Goffy will be able to win this fight against Canadian. All it's going to take is a shot or two, and Goffy knows he's there. Sees the leg of the Mozzie. Canadian doesn't know where he's coming from, but instead it's going to be Sleben who springs into action, and Rampy has to get out as quickly as he can through security with Sleben hot on his heels. Back up the luggage stairs he'll go. Sleben will lose his target, but the opening frag to Soniqs with 90 seconds in. You've got some of the lower, I guess, lower floor presence taken care of. Next task for the Soniqs is going to be on Aqua. Neptune's engaging, losing some HP. Super and Goddess have also taken some damage too. But these are just, it's just a flesh wound.
There goes Fultz in Aqua. That is going to be, like you said, check number 2 on a check mark. They've also got window control now of Billiards. I think Rampy's going to have to make a big play here because you cannot depend on just Bosco to be able to pull that out. While I say Bosco's dependable, you just can't count on it. And Rampy to go down here, not going to help. Thinking Nate at least showing up for his team, but it's a 2v4. Thinking Nate at half health now. This is not looking like a Space Station round.
Can't see through the debris that's in front of him. Bosco holding the angle over towards the common spot. He'll hear the barbed wire getting struck at least once or twice. 40 seconds left. Upside down rappel will be a thorn in the side of Thinking Nade. Onto the cams, and all the information that was given from them now gone. Keep in mind that with access to the phones from Sleben, that the intel from Space Station is gone. Heating up, looking to try and regain the lead are the Soniqs. Amidst the smoke, it's going to be Thinking Nade. He'll cut Gomphy down, or rather, that's going to be Bosco. Super finds Bosco, so Thinking Nade will have to survive for the time being. Diffuser down, so there goes some objective play. And it doesn't really matter. Goddess picks up 2 kills, was instrumental in getting the diffuser down. A tremendous round from her. And once again, the lead goes back to the Soniqs.
Thinking Nade literally ran past the diffuse getting planted.
Yeah.
And then turned around and went, oh, it's there.
Oh. Is that where it was?
That was a huge misplay there. And that could have easily been the round. Could have taken the diffuser down and just hid at that point, and would have been enough. So, gonna be kicking himself for that round, because that definitely could have been an SSG round, as that was a great clutch attempt. But just, yep, a little bit of misplay there. We'll see how they do on Kitchen, though. Hookah definitely wasn't their site. And again, Soniqs with their 3rd lead of this match, as they continue to one-up SSG in what could be, finally, a map here for Soniqs. I mean, I don't know. I definitely could see some overtime here, the way things will be going back and forth. But if we get to see Soniqs string 2 rounds together with a lead, that could take them to that 7 while SSG sits at 5, and that would be enough to close things out. Move to map 3. I like that we're playing the 3C maps too. So many maps to start with.
It's nice when that happens, and it does tend to happen like all in the same day.
And they're all good maps. So.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Consulate will be very unpredictable with these 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see it. I would like to see this be a nice back and forth match and get to that point, and it's certainly looking to shape up that way so far. If Space Station can't really get a handle on, again, Rampy and Fultz making plays. We'll see how Kitchen goes, though. I mean, we have yet to see a full rotation, or as you put it, the cycle completing.
Cycle.
So,
for those that are not the keenest, a cycle is when you win all 3 of your defensive sites in a row. We say a cycle because when you win a certain site, you have to go to 2 more sites before you can go back to that first site. So, therefore, you need to play 3 sites. So the cycle is win 3 separate sites. There you go.
There you go.
It wasn't as easy to describe as I'd hoped. That drone will just scoot on by the vigil of Canadian. Sleben again will try inside of office to find the opening frag and the opening pick. He has been instrumental in his team's success, and if he cools off, with that go the chances of Soniqs, or at least with the way that they're playing so far on Coastline, somebody else will need to step up. You noted that it's a Kitchen defense. Where's the attack going to come from? From the Soniqs? Well, it's going to come over from the double bars. Usually a pretty safe place to go. You don't often have to worry too much about any pressure up top. Thinking Nade gets 1. He knows he's under fire, but his team's there. Thinking Nade 2 removes the head of Neptunes. 2v5, looking to equalize. Goddess and Sleben, just the 2 of them. They'll take out Rampy. Down goes Slevin. Got us on cool vibe stairs, and it is not cool, kids. It is not cool at all. Dead. Space Station, take the round.
Bosco says, you want to be cool? Stay in school.
Speaking of school, can we get congratulations, Bosco?
Yeah.
Missing his graduation to compete in U.S. Nationals, but while being a professional Rainbow Six player, finishing his degree. Very admirable. So
The ultimate clutch.
congratulations, Bosco.
Yeah, well done. That is not a easy achievement to play at this level.
No,
of
not
play.
at all.
It takes a lot of time, and school, I believe, also does take a lot of time. So, well done. Shows you can do it. Shows you don't need to choose one or the other necessarily. But that was a good round for SSG all around. Good coverage. It was really the duo of Finkinade and Rampy covering Bar.
And Lycan, I forgot.
Yeah,
Lycan also graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big brain on that guy. I'd like to know what degrees they graduated in. I didn't.
Bosco Engineering, I can't remember what Lycan's was.
Well, fantastic. Some big brains on them both.
Yeah, not, by the way, just casually playing Rainbow Six as a competitor and also getting an engineering degree.
Yeah, extra hard.
It's just a normal day.
Yeah.
Just a very normal day. Just totally cool, normal, easy degree.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Interesting that Soniqs are going to be the one to take the time out.
I think they need to at this point. That round fell apart for them really quickly, and they've got way more pressure on their shoulders than SSG does. SSG took map 1. Obviously, they're not the team that's going to be staring down defeat. Even if they lose Coastline, you still got Consulate. And Space Station are a very good team on Consulate. Dark Zero banned Consulate against Space Station, if I remember correctly. I think it was.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I didn't get the who banned which map down.
Not entirely certain.
Could we see?
Well, that was from yesterday. We didn't cast that match. I didn't mean today. I meant like.
Yeah.
I was reasonably certain that Dark Zero banned Consulate against Space Station.
Makes sense.
SSG played on Consulate, if I remember, quite well at OGA Pit, so that stands to reason. So, 9 kills for Slevin in the first 3 rounds. The next 5 rounds, 2 kills. So I think it's safe to say at this point, he's cooled off. Additionally, at the bottom of the scoreboard with 2 kills, Neptune's Gomfy with 4. Therein lies a significant problem for the Soniqs. Your fraggers, their guns have gone flat.
Yeah, it's all on
Bomb
Slevin.
located by attackers.
And I mean, you hate to see it, but we saw it yesterday as well. It seems to be the pattern. Is Slevin was definitely a great pickup for the team, but the rest of the team needs to pick it up as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see if SSG can capitalize on that. We saw some rounds where they took him out early, and that just crumbled after that. Last round, he did manage to get a good flank to try and pick things back, but then once he was traded off, again, fell apart. So we'll see. We are going to interestingly see a ward in this round. We haven't seen a ton of use of it. We've seen a little bit yesterday, but we didn't see it really terribly effective in terms of where you're playing it. I mean, there's certain places you know you're going to get to use it, which is, you know, the laxing play of it on the server stairs on Bank. That's a good example. Other sites, not always as useful necessarily.
Canadian and Rampy were the 2 lowest performing players for SSG yesterday, but have led the way today with a combined 34-19 scoreline. Fact!
There you go. Well, Rampy at least made up for, you know, his performance with last map, but fact. There you go. Fact.
I feel like every time I see that, I want to be like, fact! Just
factoids.
Yeah, there you go.
Straight at your eyeballs.
Activated track devices.
Once again, that just touches on the depth of SSG. And I mean, I feel like a chump now because I said, you know, oh, Canadian, you know, he's not really in a position, blah, blah. And now he's doing really well.
He's also switching up a lot in terms of dropping the diffuser and having other people pick it up, or playing a little bit different roles as necessary. He's playing a little more flexible in that sense. And
Far more aggro roles, I would say. And a Coastline is a map where you don't need a dedicated hard breacher. If you've noticed, there's been minimal hard breacher usage. It's mostly been a Habana, maybe for the walls on Pink. That's about it. The drone of Neptune's, that's a visual glitch for those that are curious. It is not traveling through the floorboards, nor through time and space in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, that's... First logic bomb is Slevin entries down below all by himself. He's not droned in. In fact, most of Soniqs on these 2 rounds have not been the best with their drones in comparison to what we've seen of their opponents. It's Rampy being hunted inside of the courtyard as the Vigil. Cloaking device not active. Is there anybody from the Soniqs who will be able to strike? There's a lot of time being wasted. And Rampy might end up walking right into Slevin's waiting arms, but instead goes the other way.
That's always helpful. I mean, I would like to see some Rampy Slevin duels on this map.
It would be nice, given the way that these two have been playing so far. And Super almost taking Rampy out. Rampy decides to re-engage with Canadian. Super gets one, Sleben gets the other. This is great teamwork from the Soniqs. They'll grab a third with Gomfy. As Bosco's been down, Diffuser goes down. How did this happen so quickly? Thinking Nade punishes one. He'll have to pick Bosco up and try to give his team the best shot he has. But he thinks otherwise. Sees Super on Cool Vibe stairs, can't win it. It's Neptunes who actually gets credited with the kill for Bosco. And Super on Cool Vibe stairs. He just needs to survive. Soniqs take the lead again. It's a pendulum between these two teams, back and forth and back and forth.
I mean, I'd say the timeout helped, but it's pretty much continuing the pattern that we saw before.
Yeah.
Which is not looking good for the defenses of SSG, which Soniqs did by far better. It's, I mean, this is troubling. Now they're going to go to a third site here. Will Bar be the difference maker here? Because if not, this map could actually be over a lot quicker than I would have expected. Certainly could be. I mean, again, though we haven't seen yet 2 rounds in a row from either team. It's been back and forth, with the exception
of Soniqs at the start.
Yeah, the round 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That was one exception when they got their first lead that they've been relatively maintaining.
A very low tempo team as well, as you can see, low energy. They haven't really been phased too much by it. Whereas Space Station's enthusiasm that we saw in map number 1. Not quite as dominating a performance as I think people had expected, and that's how best of 3s work though, right? You get to ban a map you never play right away, and then you're probably going to have to play a map that you don't usually play. Be a tough situation for teams that are not the most prepared. But both of these teams have a deep map pool, or at least should. Space Station probably having among the deepest map pool in North America, given the fact that the core of this roster has been together for so long. Canadian coming in as an addition. Didn't really change all that much about the actual squad. So
I remember watching Most Wanted playing Coastline as one of the memorable matches when they were Most Wanted.
It's true.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember I remember back in the days when this Space Station roster was what? It was Ferocity, and then it was Bittersweet, and then it was Most Wanted. And then it was Space Station, if I remember correctly.
I think it was probably the next one. I don't recall for sure if there was one in between. Some teams go through a lot more org changes than others.
Back when King Leo was on this squad. That's a name.
I miss King Leo.
King Leo Bible Thump,
yeah,
I believe is what would be said on Twitch chat. So Mozzie Pests will deny Goddess an opportunity to drop the drone down into the site. Now there's another pest that'll stop it. I don't know if the drone actually got caught by the pest or not. That's an error from Gomfy, and that drone is as good as dead as it is in no man's land.
Good on Canadian then with those pest placements. Rather than playing the Vigil, just denying the drones a different way. Seems smart.
And deliberately done in an area so that you can't go through there. And we talk about castle barricades being, done to funnel the attackers through places where you want them to go. Mozzie Pest's very similar. You either lose the drone, or you have to play in a certain part of the map where the defenders want. Or you just shoot the pests and possibly end up in an engagement. Because you will see teams sit over top of the pests, and the moment that you go to shoot that pest, they're there to get you. Canadian C4 will find Gomfy opening frag for Space Station, and well, would you look at that? It looks like we might swing back and forth. Who knows exactly? That's inside of Aqua, and it's Gomfy down. He had entered on his own, and like I said, not as much effective droning from the Soniqs as I would hope to see. They mostly drone each other in.
That wasn't a kill on Sleben, though, so this still could go either way.
That's very trtrue. That's very, very true. Neptune's still up as well, and then Goddess has been getting her frags on both defense and on attack. Gridlock is a very formidable operator. Excellent gun utility to boot.
I would say Eclipse is probably the standout Gridlock player.
I would say Nello. Oh, North America. Yeah. I would agree with that. 1 minute to go in round number 10. Sleben is almost inching his way on up. Takes the head off. I think he made a beautiful shot. Must have been called out after Super was dropped. Prompting the reload. And he can just survey all of the sites. Rampy is off. Behind. Down goes Sleben. Defaults. They're all over the place. Space Station cannot be tracked. And it looks like we're going to have yet another tie between these two teams. 30 to go, and an onerous task in front of Soniqs as they're over by the double bars. It's a Goddess and Neptune's duo with some long angles being held from Space Station, deep inside a kitchen, and no real sense of urgency from the Soniqs. I think they are well aware that this is a, I guess you could say, fruitless endeavor. Stuns go out, but there's still a reinforcement that you're going to have to go through. Fultz just absolutely gasses Neptunes, and down goes Goddess to Canadian. Back tied up again, Devin. 5-5.
I see a pattern here.
You know what? I see one as well.
Again, who can string 2 in a row after that early one that we saw from Soniqs? I mean, if SSG could do the same, then they'll be in the lead. That's what you need. But I'm seeing that overtime. Unless something changes here, mathematically we see that overtime. Because we have the 5 here from SSG. If we get the lead taken again by Soniqs, that puts it at 6, at which point it's either overtime or we go to map 3. We haven't really seen Soniqs be able to string 2 together again, so then it's likely we end up in overtime. And then it depends on who gets what side. I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, Soniqs have been good at both sides, really.
Defenders,
so
protect your
I
bombs
don't know
from
if there's
being
necessarily, I mean,
defused by
defense, I guess, would be a little bit of a more favored side for them. But at the same time, they've shown they can adequately do both. So they're not as much of at a disadvantage in overtime in that sense.
It's been far more of a team effort for the Soniqs on attack. It was the Sleben show on defense. On attack, it has been Neptune's doing work, Goddess doing work, Super doing work, Comfy doing work. Sleben has semi-fallen off, 4 kills in, you know, the 5 rounds, 4 rounds technically, as this is round number 5 that they have on attack. So something to consider. The teams also get to pick which side they go to in overtime.
10 seconds remaining.
Do they want to go to attack twice? Do they want to go to defense twice?
5 seconds to insertion.
Well, Canadian going to be back on that vigil. I still think he's doing a bit better as the Mozzie, but
Attackers are moving
decisions being made. I mean, the only problem is as the vigil, he doesn't get the C4, and we know how effective Canadian can be with C4.
Reloading.
So, still think the Mozzie might have been a little bit better, but see what they do here on Kitchen. He's just going to, again, try and distract them as long as he possibly can. But he's also playing a risky angle onto the door. If they go for a pre-fire, they can find him, but no, he's the one to find them. Oh, 2 quick kills.
SSG has not won 2 rounds in a row yet. This is their best chance, and it's going to get even better for them now. 2v4, Neptunes and Sleben, both of whom have taken a bit of a beating. Behind the shields, the smoke will ring out in front of Neptune. Sleben entry solo. He knows he's got 1 inside of Sunrise because the audio cues from his logic bomb. Down goes the shield, and damage will continue to go to Sleben as he steps in a goo mine. It's just a waiting period now for SSG. They don't need to commit anything. Canadian side of the main lobby, fondly referred to as the Lamborghini doorway with the drone underneath it. He'll take the drone out, and once again, Soniqs are going to have to just twist and turn, and I don't think they know where to go.
No, it's definitely going to be a difficult one for them to be able to pull off here. Perhaps they still have 1 logic bomb, 2 smokes, so they have utility. They have a claymore as well, which probably should get set down here at some point when they decide where they want to attack from. Like kitchen window's good. Canadian had a nice bait on that yesterday, but at the same time, this is tricky. They have a minute and a half to work with though, so they have enough time to make a decision, but they've got to make a decision. Unless someone from SSG just wants to throw a free kill their way.
1 logic bomb and 2 smoke grenades are all you have for utility, as Neptunes is starved and completely depleted from that lifeline. The only real way I see Soniqs taking this round is if Spacestation makes some stupid mistakes. Peek a little too early. Don't fight for a refrag. You have a 4v2 advantage. You don't need to give them anything. The patience that we saw from the Soniqs on Clubhouse is something that we also see from SSG. And a beautiful shot. Canadian, a massive round. And it's match point for Spacestation, their first time winning rounds back-to-back. And they have the opportunity to become your Eastern Conference champions and knock the Soniqs out.
Well, I take back my words for questioning Canadians' vigil play there. He did a fantastic job, but it was him playing in a spot they really didn't expect for the opening picks onto the doorway. But it was also a huge misplay droning with pushing in without the information from droning to be able to make that play. I mean, there's a drone hole right there in bathroom. So if you drone in there and you get a strong signal from vigil, putting yourself in the doorway, not a great idea. So either way, bad decision. Punishes them, and that's just a first lead for SSG, and the most important lead, and that is match point. That's the only lead you need if you could follow it up with 1 more round, but that means 3 rounds in a row would have to come from SSG here. Otherwise, we go to overtime. So entirely possible, and I'd say at this point, likely we go to overtime, unless SSG builds up some real momentum there. But again, they're not taking their timeouts here, interestingly enough.
If the Soniqs win this round, we will have a perfect mirror, or I guess it would be, what is it, a palindrome? But it's the same forward as it is backward.
Yeah, it's palindrome.
So if the Soniqs win, we would have a palindrome on these, at least from the way that my sheet looks right now, with the way that these rounds went.
A taco cat.
A what?
You ever heard that palindrome? Taco cat?
Oh, yeah. I just like race car.
I just like picturing a cat in a taco.
I don't know, floating
5
through
seconds
space.
to go.
Absolutely.
The rainbow behind it.
Yeah, I mean, Pop-Tarts don't get all the fun.
Yeah.
Attackers' objective is to locate
Is Rampy
bomb.
about to peek to possibly put a nail in the coffin of the Sonics? Well,
You'd think that would have been Fultz on that dock to be the one going for the peak.
conference championship point right now for Space Station. Sonics on attack, as usual, their last opportunity to stave off defeat at the hands of Space Station, who would earn a berth tomorrow in the grand finals, a best of 5.
This is for all the smack talk that Super can do. He really needs to pull it ahead here. At least get that overtime going. Certainly doesn't want to go out in a 2-0.
The U.S. Nationals finals, technically, I guess, or the Nationals finals.
Super. Trying to at least make a play here.
Devices and traps.
He's got some idea what they're going to be dealing with. They could even potentially spot Rampy. He's got the, was it ERC-7, I believe it's called?
The cloaking device being held off. And I imagine for the Sonics, you're going to see an awful lot of patience from them in a bit of a gun-shy play here as they know that everything is on the line. Super takes a little bit of damage in an engagement down inside of Sunrise Bar. Opening pick goes to Rampy. There's one from Canadian too. The Sonics will lose Goddess and Neptunes as SSG are just a few kills away from being champions on their side of the conference. Slevin will use a logic bomb to assist the other 2 members of the team. And because the floor's been shot open, Super, who still sits and waits down in Sunrise Bar, will know that somebody's there. 2 Kumines get hit, and Canadian knows he's gonna get swung on. Rampy guns down Slevin. He's playing in a position, there's one inside of luggage. Comfy takes damage. Impact gets tossed out, Rampy downed. Comfy's downed as well. It's Super in a 1v4 with Space Station looking for total
Bomb
liftoff.
has been located.
Nobody from Space Station needs to peek at all. 1 minute for Super to try and pick Comfy back up. He was downed by Rampy. The crowd getting into this knowing that this might be it for the Sonics. And this is a tough spot to be in if you're Super. I think he's gonna try to get Comfy up. I think that's the only thing he can really do here is he's just bled about 15 seconds off of the clock. He'll swing on in. Is there anybody watching? No, there isn't. Because of course the bomb site is on the other side. He's been spotted by the cam, and the moment he goes to pick up Comfy, he might have his back turned. Nobody's there. Look at the patience from SSG. Comfy is up. The crowd chanting, send them home. Will SSG be able to do just that? Still patience from Space Station, 30 seconds remaining. Gunfire rattling on out. Nobody from SSG giving the Sonics an inch. There goes a Kumine. Canadian knows, he hears it, he misses his shots, traded out though, and there you have it. Your Eastern Conference champions are Space Station. They'll play for it all tomorrow. So long, farewell Sonics. 2-0 for SSG.
SSG going from not being able to string 2 rounds in a row to stringing 3 where it counted most to secure the win. Fantastic play for them, and a huge threat for whoever they're going to be up against next.
They play the victor of TSM versus Reciprocity, which will be coming up in a couple of minutes once we go through the whole rigmarole, getting the teams off the stage, getting new teams on. The Sonics started out so strongly on Coastline. They looked a little restless on Clubhouse and frankly not as effective as they could have been. But the team got quiet and the guns just were not alive through the latter portion of that particular map. A tough one for the Sonics, who looked like they were able to push SSG to Consulate, but no 3rd map on the menu.
Tell you what though, in the future when it comes to the Sonics, don't sleep on Slevin. That man was an absolute gem of a pickup. He is really shining on this team. If the rest of them, as you said, could step it up completely, gonna be fantastic.
Don't sleep on the super power player, but we got Rampy on the stage. We'll toss it down to Jackie and hear his thoughts and her comments on the match.
Thanks so much, you guys. Well, it sounds like the crowd was on y'all's side. Could you feel that energy?
Yeah, we could hear them in our comms.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow, props to y'all, right? And they're getting loud. Is it because he had an 11 kill streak? You played fabulously. I want to ask you, you seem to return to form today. What changed from yesterday?
I don't know, yesterday I've been a little sick, so yesterday was just an off day for me, so today felt good.
Okay, so since you're not feeling well, let me ask you a complicated question. No, I'm kidding. You can keep this one fast. We did notice that you guys picked Coastline. Typically, you guys ban that. So can you explain why you guys decided to go with that decision?
I think we picked club. Do we not?
Oh no! Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe I got my C's mixed up. Okay, so never mind. C's, that was my bad. Okay, so talk to me a little bit about how you guys are feeling now. You fell short in Croatia, and now you guys are moving into the finals. So what's gonna be different this time around?
We're gonna win this time.
Why?
We're ready.
Okay. And who do you guys expect to see in the finals? And why do you want to see them, or not see them, I guess?
I think we're gonna see Rec.
Are you excited for that?
Yeah, I like the Rec guys. I'm excited to play them.
Okay, well, fantastic playing. Clubhouse, Coastline, oh my God. All right, well, we'll send it back to the studio. It is electric in here, though, you guys. These people are so amped up. Oh, actually, you guys, am I killing it or what? I like messed up Coastline. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I almost forgot that we have this awesome competition that you guys can get into. Who wants to win money? Right? We're in Vegas. We want to help you all out here, okay? Well, get your phone out. Click the Venmo app, okay? Look up ESL Gaming, okay? If you don't have Venmo, download the app, man. Don't be yelling at me out there. Okay. All right, well, I sent a transfer to them with a trivia question in there, and if you answer correctly, you could win $100. And if you don't win, don't worry. I'm transferring money to them again tomorrow, so you could win again tomorrow. So, all right, I'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks a lot for that one, Jack.